The sky is blue, so is Manchester. Pep Guardiola and his boys reminded everyone that, hey, we are still one of the teams to beat. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolese. Thoroughly happy to grace your screens once again. But hey, as a Manchester United fan, this moment, nah, not so much happiness. We have a lot in store for you from football, there's boxing, and of course, the World Athletics Championship going down in Tokyo. All of this and so much more I'll be discussing with my homeboy Bankole Oladune. And don't forget, the juiciest part of the show is where we give you tips on the Tipsters Corner. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll delve straight into action. Welcome back, Edwin in the building alongside my homeboy Bankole Oladune. Banky, what's up? How you doing?
Edwin, it's good to be here, but don't worry. I know I'm working on eggshells because I'm not in the best of mood because of
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. The last decade, I've seen it all. You can't go worse than this for Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, for a team who has dominated English football, for a team who has 20 league titles, for a team who also, has 3 European UEFA Champions League titles. This is a show of shame. This is you look at the clamor towards certain players. You look at who is wearing the captain's armband at United. You look at the behavior, in a Manchester derby, and all you can only do is just to reminisce, on what it used to be. Yeah. A Manchester derby where there is no desire, a Manchester derby where you don't see players fighting for second balls, a Manchester derby where the winning team was not even exactly spectacular. Yeah. A Manchester derby where both teams are not fighting for anything at the moment. City are not, looking at winning the title. United are somehow closer to relegation than European places. So it's just, like I said, it's just a show of shame.
So let's start with the winners of the day. Manchester City, a brace from Erling Haaland, continued from his goal-scoring form during the international break. Bankole, overall, was this a statement win for Manchester City to the rest of the title challengers, the Liverpools and the Arsenals, that, hey, we might stutter, we might sleep, but we have the quality to always come back and fight? Was that a statement, or it was more or less like them rolling past an abject Manchester United side?
Yeah, I think it was the latter. I think this was exactly like the game against Wolves. You look at the quality that United put on show. You look at how easy it was, for City to roll over United. The quality of play from City was not exactly spectacular. Rodri, Reinders, Jeremy Doku, these guys didn't play up to the level that we know that they've played recently. I mean, the amount of misplaced passes, from Rodri, the amount of misplaced passes from Reina, there was absolutely no control. But the only thing that made them, go on to win, get all 3 points because of the quality of United. It was way too easy for them. It was way too like a Desica. That match was up for the taking for United, but I don't know if it was down to the basic principles like having a bad attacking pressing or a bad defensive structure, but there was just something missing about United, and you can only blame the coach. But for City, this is not a performance that would scare the likes of Liverpool, that would scare the likes of us, even Chelsea. Even teams that are going to challenge for the UEFA Champions League, places like Spurs and Newcastle, I think they'll look at Man City and they'll believe that the reason why they looked dominant, the reason why they looked good, was because it was down to the part of Manchester United, not because they're exactly good.
How long does Ruben Amorim have at Manchester United?
No, that's a difficult question, because I said it on the show. If you structure your transfer recruitment towards a manager and it doesn't work out, then you are in a bit of a conundrum. You've invested a lot of money in a person who will probably not see out the season. So when you sack him and you bring in a new manager, it will render a couple of these players that you brought in absolutely obsolete. So now you look at Amorim and you look at Manchester United, the likes of Jason Wilcox, who are in the upper hierarchy. How would you go about it? Because the amount of money spent just in this summer was about 250 million. Sesko was brought in for 80 million. 60 million was spent on Matheus Cunha, another 65 on Brian Mbeumo. Now you bring in another manager who might look at these players and think they are not fitting into his system. There you have a problem. So I don't think they necessarily have a choice. I think they'll probably stick to him as long as they could, probably up to December and January. But at that point, there'll be nothing left to play for in the season anymore. The aspirations for Champions League placing will probably have gone.
Yeah.
You know, as you're out of the league title, League Cup already. You're not in any European competition, and the FA Cup is around January.
Yeah,
so
no
when you bring a new manager, it will also take a couple of time for him to also get its philosophy into this player. So yeah, I think United are in a bit of a pickle, and if you have to sack him, I think you have to sack him now. You know, before it escalates into a season where you have nothing to fight for anymore. But it's going to be a difficult choice.
One coach definitely who is not getting the sack any moment is Arne Slot. 4 wins from 4 for Liverpool, but hey, it wasn't without question marks. It wasn't without bumps on the road. Mohamed Salah got the all-decisive winner from the penalty spot. But it's interesting to note, Bankole, that Liverpool's struggles was a perfect platform for Florian Wirtz to show us why they invested over £100 million to get him. But so far, so good. Now, this is not me being a hater. I don't think after 5 games we've seen any glimpse of Florian Wirtz to suggest that, yeah, this is the real deal.
Yeah, so I also had my reservations about Florian Wirtz. We both, my reservation about German players generally, and we've had that conversation before. But yeah, I think I'll still give him a bit of time.
Yeah.
I think it is way too early. 5 games is a bit too small of a sample size, to judge a player of his quality. And another conundrum is where exactly is his best position. Like a lot of German players, like the case we had with Kai Havertz, where would you say is his best position at this Liverpool team? Is it as a 10? Because we've seen him play as a 10 and he hasn't exactly light up the place. Now we are hearing talks about him moving to the left. And if you move him to the left, the most consistent performer at Liverpool this season has been playing on the left, and that's Cody Gakpo. So where exactly do you see him fitting in? Where exactly do you think you would have the best out of Florian Wirtz? And that's the question for Arne Slot. But I still think there's a player there. I still think 5 games is not enough sample size. I still think Arne Slot is up to Arne Slot to find a way to manage this situation. Probably drop him, let him watch other players do their thing. You put in Szoboszlai at the tip of the attack, McAllister and Gravenberch. Now you already have Conor Bradley and Frimpong fit. So this will give you an opportunity, to let him just sit back and step away from the action while he just tries to figure out the best way he can enforce himself or implement himself in this Liverpool team. Yeah, but Liverpool in general, consecutive games where they need a set piece, to win. Alarm bells might not necessarily go off, but you also have to question how they can go on to improve. A lot of money has been spent to this team. You also have to consider that Isak will be added into this attacking firepower. But I don't think Arne Slot should start panicking. I don't think Liverpool fans should start panicking. This is a team that won the league last season and a team that might still have a lot of chances to improve over the course of the season.
We also saw Arsenal in full action. The depth and quality they have in their reserve must be a worry for other teams who saw them dismantle Nottingham Forest over the weekend. Chelsea dropped points against Brentford. It's a young side. I expect them to have some of these moments. It comes with experience. All right, from the English Premier League, we head straight to the Italian Serie A. The Derby d'Italia lived up to its billing. Bankole, it was a 7-goal thriller. It was a game that had everything. Goals, tackles, fantastic plays, individual brilliance, some excellent goalkeeping. In my opinion,
also some questionable goalkeeping.
Yeah, questionable goalkeeping also, Jan Soma. In my opinion, it was the game of the week across Europe. Absolutely.
I think if you want to do a top 5 selection of the game of the week, probably 2 would be from the Serie A. Also, the Fiorentina against Napoli game,
Napoli game.
Was a proper cracker. But I think the Derby Italia was a game where the 2 managers might probably not be at the job in December.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
3 wins for 3 for.
Yeah, he got most likely Christian Kivu than Igor Tudor. But you look at that Juventus team, you look at the firepower they have up front. They started with Dusan Vlahovic, especially when you consider there's still like Openda and Jonathan David on the bench for Juventus. So it is a team that has gone under the radar in terms of chances of winning the squad. Yeah. It's a team that I think have gradually done good business, especially on the deadline day of the transfer window. But defensively, they still look suspect. And I said it on this show. the only defender with any ounce of quality is Bremer, you know, and you look at people who are partnering. You have Lloyd Kelly, even though he scored a goal, his first career goal, he's still not good enough, you know, especially if you're a team looking to win the Scudetto. For Inter Milan, I think this was expected. I don't think anybody, you know, expected, you know, any tactical improvements with Christian Kivu. I've always called him a musketeer that the owners, the Oak Tree owners, put there just to appease the fans. I look at Kivu, I look at him as a manager who's out of his depth. You know, he's not building on what Inzaghi did. He's actually just living it the same way, just the same blueprints, bar for bar, especially when you consider the defense are a year older. Acerbi, Bastoni, Stefan de Vrij, these are guys who don't have pace, and yet you are still, you know, employing the eye-line tactics. And with Christian Kivu, like I said, there's a chance that either Igor Tudor and Christian Kivu might not be in the job come December, and my money would be on Christian Kivu. Definitely
my money on Conte to stay and outlast both managers is the most likely bet, if I have to take a punt on that. Massive 3-point for them against Fiorentina. Let's leave Italy. I will go straight to the Spanish La Liga. It's 4 wins from 4 for Real Madrid. It was a tough game against Real Sociedad. But before we talk about the game, Bankole, quickly, was that a red card for
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I struggle to see how that was a red card, especially in an era where you have VAR and you have multiple chances to see that it was actually not the last man. You know, it was a foul. He impeded on the attacking player, but he was not the last man. The most he should have gotten there is a yellow card, and I think the referee goofed on that one. I think VAR goofed on that one. But yeah, if Real Madrid had gone on to draw or drop points in that game, I'm sure we wouldn't have heard the last of it. But the reason why everywhere is quite quiet is because they went on to win, and they were 2 goals ahead already, and they just consolidated on that. But that was never a red card.
What have you made of Xabi Alonso's first 4 La Liga games?
So I think the good thing for Xabi Alonso, and something I've always preached, is that he has an idea of what the core of his starting 11 should be. Dean Huijsen would be starting, Carreras also, Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe. In midfield, you have Tchouameni and Adagula. If Bellingham comes back, he probably replaces Gula, but he has an idea of what his starting level should look like. Maybe injuries have also, you know, helped him in a way. The fact that Bellingham has conveniently gotten injured, so he has less options to pick from in midfield. Up front also, Rodrigo, he doesn't seem to be in his plan, but you look at Mastertuano also has come in, and he has looked good in certain moments. But yeah, I think the fact that he has a core of his starting 11, and also his emphasis on control, has helped Real Madrid. They seem to be controlling the game better. They seem to be holding possession of the game better. Even their pressing looks a bit structured, you know, than what we saw from Carlo Ancelotti. So I think he has gotten the fundamentals. They still need to take it up in that level. They still need to go up a couple of levels. But I think he has gotten the fundamental right. This is something they can build upon, you know, going into the season.
And it was a 6-star performance, not 5-star for FC Barcelona. 3 players scoring braces each: Fermin Lopez, Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski. It's going to be an exciting one. We know the top 2 teams will slug it out to the final weeks of the season. Atletico Madrid also got a much-needed win against Villarreal. All right, at this juncture, we need to go on a short break. That's our European Roundup review. When we return, there's more on the other side. It is Sports Pizza. Welcome back to the second half of the show. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Sports Pizza. We give you all the juiciest story information, education, analysis, and a bit of entertainment. You can follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screens. Bankole, let's spice things a bit. Our start bench drop series. Today, we're doing the coaches version. Now, 3 coaches are under fire. 3 coaches are top favorites to lose their jobs before December, and they are Graham Potter, Ruben Amorim, and of course Christian Kivu. Start bench drop. Who is likeliest to keep their job?
To keep their job?
Yeah.
Likeliest to keep their job. I think Ruben Amorim. I'll start Ruben Amorim because, like the reasons I stated earlier, it's going to be difficult, you know, for United to sack him, especially when you consider that the amount of money they've invested, you know, in trying to get the system up and running, the amount of years, you know, left on his contract. He's yet to complete his first year, and I think he was signed on what, a 5-year, 4-year contract. So that is a lot of severance package that would be leaving for a United team that, according to reports, are not exactly, you know, flowing with money. So I think Ruben Amorim will be starting for me. On the bench, I'll still go with likely to stay. Now this is tricky because Christian Kivu has a lot of matches to play. You know, when you take account into the Champions League and the Serie A, if he loses his first game in the Champions League and loses again on the weekend, or he doesn't win, you know, then he starts to get heated up for Christian Kivu. So I think I'll put Graham Potter on the bench. David Sullivan does not look interested, you know, in the club anymore. He's one of those club owners who is just enjoying his life.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that is going on at the club, is none of his business. But as long as West Ham are not getting relegated, as long as they're still there and about, you know, in the Premier League, and I don't think they will get, you know, relegated. So I think Graham Potter would be on the bench. So I will be dropping Christian Kivu. I think Christian Kivu might, you know, get sacked real soon. Like I said, the Champions League and the Serie A match is coming in thick and fast. If he doesn't catch up, if he doesn't at least win, you know, his next couple of games, which is very unlikely, also, he's going to get sacked.
All right, moving away from that, let's come home. This time we're going straight to the World Athletics Championship, and we have a revelation on our hands. Bankole is no other than Koinsola Ajayi. He ran a sub-10 at the ongoing World Championship, finished sixth in the final, the first 100-meter male finalist we've had in years. There's so many negatives from the Nigerian perspective going into this tournament, but one bright spot is this young man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like you mentioned, it's the first time we'll be having a male representative in the final of World Athletics Championship in over a decade.
Yeah.
To show you how bad it has been. Yes, we've had female representatives, but on the male side, and I think the female representative has just been down to luck. I don't think it has been down to us nurturing or down to any talent development that we've done.
Yeah.
You know, it's just down to luck.
The individuals
yeah,
also.
It's just down to the individuals putting in the work, putting in the effort. No support whatsoever from the AFN or from the government. And he was quite documented. And Toby Amuson, you know, doing a video.
Can we focus on the positive?
No. It's quite difficult to focus on the positive.
I know.
When the negative is outweighing the positive.
So let us just, okay,
but for Koinsola,
you can just sway the conversation.
Yeah,
away.
but for Koinsola Ajayi, good one for him. Hopefully, this is the first of many to come.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we won't have any other incompetence or negligence from the AFN affecting, you know.
And he switches allegiance.
And not even switching allegiance, but we've seen athletes not even given the chance to run because of incompetence.
At the end of the day, switch allegiance.
So I think this is the talent. I'm sure a lot of countries are already looking at him. A lot of countries are already paying attention to him. So if Turkey or any other country comes in with a better package, he will lead. So but hopefully we will continue to see him do his best for Nigeria. All
right, in the MPFL quickly, Ikorodu City defeated Barao by 2-0. Abia Warriors defeated Katsina United by a lone goal. Kano Pillars defeated Rangers 1-0. Plateau United picked up their first points and first win of the season, defeating Remo Stars by 2-0. Remo Stars got a red card in that particular encounter. Warriors and Kwara United played out the only goalless draw this weekend. We also saw Kun Khalifa defeat El Kanemi Warriors by 3-1. Rivers United defeated Shooting Stars by a lone goal. Bayelsa United lost to Enyimba 0-2, with Enyimba picking up the only away win this weekend. Nasarawa United defeated Wiki Tourist by a lone goal, while Bendel Insurance late 8 goal defeating Niger Tornadoes. And there's a throwing fever across football because their goal came from a long throw, same way was it Brentford got their equalizer against the Chelsea with that long throw. All right, away from football, let's head straight to boxing, Bankole, where Terence Bud Crawford became an undisputed world champion for the third time. 3 different weight divisions. He moved up to the super middleweight. That's 2 divisions from his own weight to face Saul Canelo Alvarez. And it was a unanimous decision. It was close, but hey, if you saw that fight, you know that Terence Crawford truly lived up to his words. He said he was going to be a world champion, and definitely he became a world champion. For Canelo Alvarez, it was the 3rd loss in what has been a glittering 20-year career. Now, here's where I'm going to. Is Terence Bud Crawford the greatest boxer in the 21st century?
The 21st century.
Yeah. We can roll out names.
That's from 2000 downwards.
Yeah, from 2000 downwards.
Nah, no, it's not.
Who is?
It's not. When you say boxer, you mean all divisions?
All divisions, yeah.
It's not. I still think of the Klitschko brothers. I still think of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
I still think of Manny Pacquiao. These are guys who, off the top of my head, I would see have a long-standing legacy. Maybe over the course of his career, he might still.
Bro, he's done 41 wins. From 41 fights.
I still don't buy.
Undisputed.
In terms of
3 divisions.
Edwin,
undisputed. The first man in the open era.
Edwin, the reason why I don't have a lot of love towards boxers these days is because of the era they find themselves in. This is not an era that inspires confidence.
Come on,
look,
man.
you look at.
Come
okay,
on, man.
Who would you say has been his biggest competition?
Is defeated what's in front of him. That's the most important
exactly.
thing.
We don't
Canelo is a certified Hall of Famer.
Canelo at this moment in 2025 is already on borrowed time. He's already on father's time. So you cannot. It's not even Canelo in his prime. It is not Canelo in his prime.
Who did the Klitschko brothers fight?
The Klitschko brothers.
Who did they fight? Tell me one.
The Klitschko brothers. Who did they fight? They were absolutely dominant.
Against who?
Against everybody in the heavyweight. And when you consider they were in the heavyweight, not the middleweight.
Let me tell you.
The heavyweight is a different ballgame from the middleweight.
Let me tell you who they beat, who they lost to. Once they
you drop David James. Edwin, you drop David James in this era. And he's automatically one of the best boxers. You drop a David Hayes in this era, and he automatically becomes one of the best boxers.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you, Bankole. I'm not going to argue with you. Let's leave it to our viewers. So please let us know, who is the greatest boxer this century? Leave a comment in our social media platforms. We'll be happy to read them. At this point, we'll give you our video for the week. When we return, it is the Tipsters Corner. We have 2 important games for you. Welcome back. Those were some powerful punches, some incredible defensive skills there. We saw from both boxers, 2 guaranteed Hall of Famers. It's time for the Tipsters Corners. I'll have 2 games for you from the English Premier League. It is Manchester United looking to respond against Chelsea, who dropped 2 points against Brentford, while Arsenal will entertain Manchester City in a top-of-table clash. Bankole, what do you have for our punters?
So for the game between Man United and Chelsea, I think you look at the form table and you'd be swaying towards Chelsea. But this is a fixture that over the years, especially at Old Trafford, where United, no matter how poorly they've been playing, they always seem to turn it up a notch, against Chelsea. So I think we'll go for over 1.5 in this game. You can give United a handicap 2 up front. Any team to score 3 in a row, no. Also seems likely because Chelsea would also have the higher odds, so you can also go with Chelsea away team to score 3 in a row, no. So yeah, this seems like a couple of value that you might want to jump on. For Arsenal against City, I think this is going to be a closely contested game. I don't think we'll be seeing the 5-0 we saw last season. I think City would want to, from what we saw against United, they're quite evolving. The defensive game you saw Pep Guardiola taking out an attacker for a defender, just to control and consolidate on the lead. So I think we'll be seeing something like that against Arsenal. And it's quite clear that Arsenal in the last 2 seasons have been the better team. So it's quite clear that Arsenal would be giving the impetus to attack, which is not exactly what you'd want Arsenal to do against a team like City. So I think I'll be giving an Arsenal a double chance. Double chance on under 4.5, double chance on under 3.5 seems likely. Also, you might want to go for a first half draw if you want to be ambitious. If you also want to be ambitious, you can go for Arsenal 1-up, or Arsenal 2-up. It depends on what you want. But yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing goals. But I also don't think Arsenal will be losing that game.
Always remember that Sports Pizza is not responsible for any bet loss. We only give you expert opinions on the likely outcomes of these games. Always ensure to bet responsibly. We've come to the end of another exciting edition of the show. I'm sure you learned a lot, you've laughed with us, and of course we expect your feedbacks on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. We also have a YouTube page dedicated to you for your viewing pleasure. Bankole, always a pleasure doing this with you.
It's always nice to do this with you, Edwin, even though you are not in the best of mood. But yes, for me, so our viewers, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Yes, they say there's light at the end of the tunnel. For Manchester United fans, we will be back. From me, Edwin, do have a fantastic week.